All right. Okay, so I guess we're getting started. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. This is our fourth session this semester and the last session for the year, the calendar year. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So as usual, we start with a disclaimer that this workshop will be recorded and made available for information and educational purposes, and that the CRE does not make any representation or warranties with respect to the accuracy, applicability, fitness, or completeness of its content. All right, so let's get started. So this session, I'm sure you know what you were signing up for, and that's why you're all here. We're very excited to talk about networking with researchers. So this is one of one of the part of the series of computing research engagement and awareness workshop series. And it's like I said, last one for this semester. We're happy, to present the team. So it's like myself, Nima is going to be joining us very soon. Lori is also part of the team. Unfortunately, she might be joining us later. We'll see. And Julia, we have awesome Julia over here who helps with the senior program associate. That if you have any questions about the program, she is the person who knows almost everything. All right. Now, what is the UR2 PhD? Again, just to remind people about what this program is or to introduce people to this program in case this is your first workshop with us here. So UR2 PhD is a virtual synchronous program that aims to increase the number of North American women and gender marginalized individuals who pursue PhDs in computing. It has multiple pillars and it has multiple tracks going on at the same time. Right now, you are attending this workshop, which is a part of the Research Engagement Awareness workshops. So like I said, this is one of the four main pillars and tracks that are part of the UR2 PhD. And if you want to learn more about that, please reach out with the email that we're going to show multiple times or reach out to Julia to learn more about the program. All right. Now, what is this session about? So this session is about networking. That's why we're all here. So what are we going to learn? We're going to learn about what is networking, why is it important, who should network and when. We're going to learn about what's an elevator pitch. We're going to talk about elevator pitches and how do I give an effective elevator pitch. And Nima's here. Hi, everyone say hi to Nima. So how do we give an effective elevator pitch? How do I give feedback, positive and negative on the elevator pitch? And this is what we're going to be practicing towards the end. And how do I handle different situations communicating with peers, faculty, and other researchers? And as usual, the way that this workshop works, so the way we're actually running this one, there's going to be parts where we're going to be talking, presenting ideas, but please, 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 as usual, feel free to ask questions in the chat. Feel free to ask questions in the Q&A page. So we want this to be as interactive as possible. So please feel free to just jump in, and ask any questions if you're curious about something. All right, so agenda to summarize, networking, elevator pitches. We're going to then give you some scenarios of, what not to do, and hopefully from it you can figure out what to do. And then we're going to practice a little bit, and you guys are going to get to practice networking a little bit. All right, so what's networking? All right, let's go with the definition. The definition is cultivating productive relationships, interacting with other people to exchange information, develop contacts, especially to further one's career. This is the term you're going to hear a lot. So everyone talks about networking, how important it is, how it's something that you need to practice doing, something that is a very core part of your career. You have to build relationships. You have to, to connect to people in every opportunity that you can. But the idea is like, there's sometimes it's kind of ambiguous. What does it mean to build a relationship? So to build a relationship, really, let's put this in the context of research. So remember, this is in the context of computing research and like our experiences and what is networking and how to create a good networking experience. So first of all, your goal is the following. Your goal is to build a relationship with people. So think about it this way. Networking is all about building connections with others around you in the same field who might have similar interests to you. How would you build a relationship? Well, you build a relationship by following through, following up, keeping in touch, and meeting those people again. So it could be that you've met a person once, and that person was amazing, and you connected with them right away, and you feel like, hey, it could be that they're a professor at a university you want to go to grad school to later on in your life. You're like, hey, this is the person I've wanted to talk to for so like this is the one, he has an amazing lab or they have an amazing lab. And you're like, this is it. This is where I want to be. Well, how do you build a connection with that person? You talk to them. But then after the talking, what happens? Usually things fizzle out. And this is where we're going to define networking as maintain that relationship. So keep following up, keep connecting with them and try and meet them again. What else? All right. So that's the relationship. In order to do that, in order to be able to network, you need a few skills. So one of the things we're going to talk about here today is elevator pitches. How do you talk about yourself? What is it that you can't say? Another skill that you need to be able to offer as part of networking is to know when to offer to help. What type of help can you offer? So sometimes you are connecting with people not just to be like, hey, I want something from you. It could be that you have something to offer. And it's a skill to be able to say, what is it that you can offer to help? It's a skill to be able to just talk to people that you don't know who are just happening to be around you. And it's also a skill to prepare for an event, set goals, and practice. And we're going to talk about all of that. All right. Things to remember. Networking is not a substitute for quality work. So it doesn't mean that if you're a good networker, that if you connect to the right people, you don't need to do the work. No, that is like it goes with it. Okay. It is not a waste of time. It is not an act of using people, and it's not a self-serving act. So here are things that are very important to note. Networking is not a selfish act. The point of networking is not just that you want to advance your own career. No, it's not the act of using people. Networking is just the act of building connections, building relationships. For what purpose? The purpose could be variable. It could change over time. Your goal is to really connect to people, meet people, and work with people. And it doesn't always have to be for your own self-service. It could be that you're just seriously networking just so that you can help someone out. Okay, why is it important? Well, professional growth. There's a lot of studies and it's a real thing, a real fact, especially in our profession, that when you network, the more people you know, that happens to you can grow professionally. Why? Because you get to know you have it could be that you're meeting your future advisor. Could be that you're networking with your future collaborator. It could be that you're connecting with your future lab mate. So, professional growth, you're growing. You're expanding your professional and personal network. It could be a way for you to source new ideas. It could be a way for you to help and be part of our organization or activity. So it could open doors for you where you can just like, you learned about an organization you had no idea existed. And then you're like, wait, I can help. I can have a role in that organization. That's how you can be helpful. It could be an opportunity for you to identify potential project collaborations. And it could be a way for you to gain feedback, alternative perspective, or land internship and job opportunities. And I apologize here for the weird feedback between my mouse and the slides. Something is going on and like lines are just like skipping. Yeah. But anyway, there's a lot of advantages to networking, a lot from the professional growth perspective. And I forgot to mention again, sorry for the it keeps skipping lines. Expanding the pool of recommenders in the future. So you are networking with people for the sake of knowing them. If then they happen to be people that would be useful for the progression of your career, that's okay. And that's something very important to note. You're meeting them not for a selfish gain, but it's okay if they end up helping you with something. And the second reason for networking is personal growth because you end up making connections for others because you can help other people network. You can give back, offer value to folks in your community, and you can explore existing interests and identify opportunities that are, personal to you, not just from the professional perspective. Sounds good? All right. Who should network and when? So the answer is very simple here. Everyone should network. It is an important skill to build. And it doesn't come easily to everyone. There are people who are naturally extroverts. I am excluded from that list, who can just talk to anyone. I am a true introvert. So I feel like this, especially these sets of slides, when I was prepping them, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like the opposite of anything I would want to do. But it's a skill I had to build. That's the thing. It's a skill I had to work on. It's something I had to build. And it's important. It's a skill that I recognize also as important, even though being an extreme introvert. So everyone should network. It is good to just talk to people, to meet people. Who would you network with? Well, here's the thing. And if you notice also the list, it has almost everyone. So network with everyone. Chat with people. You might never know when is the time going to come where you see those people again, where you interact with those people again. Who are those people that you can network with? Well, your peers. Number one, your peers, your classmates, people who are around you. Peers plus, that means senior peers. It means students who are older than you. Students who could be like, they could be, just they could be like, you could be a sophomore right now and they're seniors who are taking the same class that you are, or they're just people that you randomly meet in a club, and you're like, just identify them as senior peers. Okay, sorry again, I apologize for my mouse. Who else? Graduate students, faculty, researchers, people with potential jobs or research or internship opportunities, alumni, business leaders, technical advisors. I'm not kidding. I just finished a conversation with a student of mine just a few minutes ago, talking to her about the benefit of networking with alumni because she was looking for an internship. And I'm like, go to our alumni, just talk to people. When can you network? So, who should network? Everyone. Who should you network with? Everyone. When should you network? I would say every time, all the time, but there are times where it's not appropriate. So really, networking usually happens in social gatherings. So those are the perfect opportunities. Social gatherings where people are just automatically chatting, like they're naturally chatting and talking. So that's where you go practice. Hey, can I also join and chat? With whom? Professional colleagues. This is where I promised that I'm pressing the mouse, but it's not moving. Random conversations as well. So if you're walking down the hallway and you're like, hey, you see someone that you recognize, you're like, wait, I know you. Say hello. Be like, hey, what are you doing now? Oh, what research are you working on? Just chat with them. When else can you do networking? Anytime when you meet new people. So maybe you're at we're going to talk about this in a couple of slides. You're at a career fair, you're at a conference, you're at a workshop, you're at an event at your school. Every time, whenever you're meeting new people, try and use that as this is the perfect time to practice my networking skills. All right. How should you network? Now, there are some do's and don'ts, and those are not really set in stone. It's okay. By the way, I just want to start with that. I know we have a whole don't section over here, but it's okay if you make a mistake a few times, once or twice at the beginning when you're practicing and you're not really sure and you don't, you like it's okay to make mistakes. So I just want to preface with that the don'ts are they're not like extremely offensive. It's fine. Like it's okay. Be kind to yourself if you happen to do one of the don'ts every now and then. The do's as well are not all exclusive. You don't have to do all of them in order to succeed in networking. If you can just hit some of them, you'll be fine. What are the do's? Maintain an open and inviting body language. So smiling, making eye contact. And by the way, this is really, really important because and it's even important for people to come and approach you and network with you. So it's not just about you networking with people or you approaching people. Think about others approaching you. If you're standing at a conference or like at an event where your whole body language is like, I'm in the corner, I'm on my phone, nobody talk to me, that means you're giving people the signal, I'm not ready to talk, don't talk to me. But if you're standing there smiling, looking around, trying to make eye contact with others, that's where it'll be, that's where you're still giving people the signal, hey, well, I want to chat, so let's network. What else? Enunciate and speak at a reasonable volume or pace. I usually fail at that, as you notice in my pace. But again, like I said, try. Enunciate, speak at a reasonable pace. I know sometimes with nerves, people speak faster, but you can try and practice speaking a little bit slower. Share information about yourself, what you're looking for. It's okay to talk about yourself. So this is where really it's something we recommend. Talk about yourself, what you're looking for, why you're there, or how you can help, because this is another great way to network. Learn about the other person. So don't forget to ask about the other person. It's not just about you. And follow up if you've enjoyed speaking with someone. This is something very important, you guys. It's not just in the moment. Yes, people will remember you if you see them again. But what if you don't? What if it happens that you don't get to meet up for another year or two? It's good to follow up. Have that email. Just have that, that little note like, it was nice meeting you. And that's it. Just keep it simple. It was nice meeting you. Don't do what? Don't assume that the conversation is all about you. Don't raise topics that might be sensitive or divisive. Don't abuse buzzwords or jargon that the other person might not be familiar with. So don't try and sound smart. Like that's the idea. Like just you don't have to use buzzwords. Just, talk, chat with the person. Say things to appease. Don't say things to appease others or because it might be what they want to hear. You really need to be your true, authentic self when you're networking because you're going to need to maintain that personality later if you see them again. So be your true, authentic self. Okay, a few more tips. Be curious and listen. This is really important. People love it. People remember you if you ask questions about them because then they start sharing, especially with researchers. We love to talk about ourselves, really, like professors. We love to, really. It's a thing we really enjoy. just if you ask us open-ended questions, if you talk about like ask questions about the research, the lab, what are you doing? People will remember you. Try and find common ground. That's also a way for you when you listen, you could find common ground and more things to talk about and be responsive. Also, adapt to the situation. Sometimes you might need to change what you were planning on saying based on situation. Like you were going in, you're planning to talk about your research with that professor that you're hoping would be your advisor in the future. And then halfway through, the professor is like, oh no, I'm not hiring. And then suddenly the conversation went in a very different turn. So like, okay, you're not talking about I want to be in your lab anymore, but let's talk about your research. Let's talk about general interesting stuff that are happening in the field. So it's okay to change your pitch, to try and practice that, to change your direction depending on the situation. It could be that their friends joined or more people joined, so it's no longer appropriate for you. Just keep talking about yourself, and others are now chiming in. Last tip, practice. Practice, practice. It will make you sound more confident and it will feel less forced. And this is where I would add a note as well. It really depends on who you are. There are there are people, like I said, natural extroverts. If they practice, it's worse when then they're the actual situation and they prefer to wing it. But if you're someone who's really uncomfortable and who's really not used to just networking with strangers, people you just met, then practice is the way for you. Practice with roommates, people you're comfortable with, practice with friends, practice with the professor you're comfortable talking to. Just practice and then you'll be ready for the real thing. All right. What if networking doesn't come easy? Okay. So here's the thing. We said that. We already said that at the beginning. Like it might not come natural. It might not happen right away. It's not easy for you to have a plan. So here's the thing. Be realistic with your goals. Don't say, hey, I'm going to go to this conference and then come out of the conference knowing at least, every single person in this session or having talked to 50 people in that conference. Doesn't make sense. Make reasonable, realistic goals for yourself. So start small. So give yourself goals for an event. Some advisors actually help with that. Some research advisors, they will give you challenges, like get your picture taken with 5 people, like, and might give you some names to take pictures with. So just like have those goals for yourself per event. Um, Sometimes it helps to read papers ahead and write down questions you want to ask. Then you're prepared to go talk to a researcher. Join a group that is casually talking and introduce yourself. Sometimes that works, and actually you'd be surprised how welcoming people are in these settings because it is a natural thing for people to just join and start talking. It's very natural. The advice we give though is go for groups of more than 2 people because sometimes if you find 2 people talking, then it might be something private. So it's like just if there's more than 2, then you're free to just stand and hover next to them. And I have done that multiple times. I can say that works very well. I would just go with my drink and just be like next to the group and be like, I just stay like this until they notice I'm there and they're like, oh, hi. And then I'm like, hi. And then the networking starts. It's okay. Other really great advice. This strategy really works very well. Sit down with people you don't know at tables. So usually during workshops and conferences and events, sometimes there's food and they split people on different tables. Try and sit down with people you don't know. It's actually a great strategy. This is how you're going to have to talk to people you don't know. You're going to have to network. Be friendly, but not too persistent. Sounds good? All right. So this is where I'll end my part on networking, but we want to make sure, do you have any questions so far? I'm going to take a look at the chat and see if there's anything or anything in the Q&A. Oh, I love this. We have some really great comment here of like reading ahead and planning questions is really great for mindset. Yes, agreed. It helps a lot when you go in and you feel like you know what you're talking about. You're like, I've prepped for this. Yes, agreed, cool. All right. Any more questions? Okay. I mean, don't worry, we have time at the end as well. So I'm gonna now hand it to Nima, who's gonna talk about elevator pitches and let me know when. I'll keep moving the slides if you want to know.
Yeah, you can keep sharing and you can just kind of click through
Yeah.
as we go. So
Awesome.
kind of related to networking, we're going to talk about elevator pitches, which is going to be like one of your strategies that you're going to use during networking. So like as Christine mentioned, networking, it takes all sorts of different shapes and forms. It might be at a conference and you might just go sit and eat lunch with some people that you don't know. It might be at like a workshop. It might be at some job fair of some sort, but networking can happen in a bunch of different places. You'll be networking with a bunch of different people, but elevator pitches are going to be kind of one of your kind of techniques that you have in your back pocket. So what is an elevator pitch exactly? So an elevator pitch, it's a brief introduction. So in all of those networking situations that Christine mentioned, there's going to be some initial introduction that you have to make with these people that you don't know in advance. And the elevator pitch is really your way of kind of getting the key points across of like who you are and what your intention is. So people often associate elevator pitches with job interviews, presentations, and sales pitches, but you can kind of think of any social interaction where you're meeting someone new as starting with some type of an elevator pitch. So specifically, an elevator pitch intends to describe intent and capture interest. So you're talking to someone that you've never met before. So you want to make it clear what your intentions are in this communication, but you also want to make them interested. You also want to facilitate relationship building. So yeah, you want this one interaction to be nice and pleasant, but kind of one of the goals of networking is some longer term interaction. So I'm networking with you today so that maybe in the future, if you have a research question that I could help with, or if I have some project that I would love to help you with, or like you help me with, there's some relationship that we want to build so that downstream it can kind of naturally come up again. And lastly, you want to demonstrate preparedness and showcase your value. So you're meeting this random person, you're trying to capture their interest for some reason. You want to evoke the sense that A, you did your homework, you like know what you're talking about, and B, you want to showcase that you have value to them so that if one of those downstream interactions come up that you could potentially help them with something or they can help you with something, it's clear that you have the value for that. So next, we're going to talk about how you create an elevator pitch. So you're about to meet someone. Well, what are the things that should go into that elevator pitch that you give? And just real quick, as an aside, because I really like the concept of elevator pitches. So this is actually completely unrelated to the slides right now, but has anyone heard of the video game series Kingdom Hearts? I like video games a lot, but I'm just curious, has anyone like heard of that video game series? Maybe not, but basically Kingdom Hearts is this like franchise that has spun multiple decades now that literally started with an elevator pitch. So it's a Japanese RPG game that has Disney characters, and the origin of this is literally an executive from this Japanese video game company happened to be in an elevator with an executive from Disney and just randomly brought up the idea of like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we had a role-playing game that had Disney characters in it? And then like it spun this insane, crazy franchise. So if you haven't played it, highly recommend. But that's just kind of a fun aside. Yeah. But yeah, so how do you actually create an elevator pitch? Well, the key things that you want to get across are who are you? So your name, your affiliation, like what are you doing at this place that you're meeting this person? And then second, you want to get across what do you do? And especially for you all, I'm assuming the majority of people here are undergrads, what you aim to do. So in undergrad, you're either preparing for graduate school, you're preparing for the workforce. So there's some clear picture of like something downstream that you want to do. So yeah, what are you currently doing and or what do you aim to do in the future? And then lastly, why are you sharing this information with the person you're speaking with? So is it a professor that you want to maybe see if they could be a future PhD advisor if you're trying to go down the PhD route? Are they a recruiter at a company? So you're trying to maybe see if they have job or internship openings. So you want to make it very clear to this person, like, what is the relevance to them? Why is this information important to them? So next, we're going to talk about like, do you just have one crafted elevator pitch that you use in every single situation? Definitely not. So different people are going to be interacted with for different reasons. If you're talking to someone at a job fair, you're going to want to have an elevator pitch that's tailored towards that company. If you're going to talk to someone at like a research conference, you want to tailor your elevator pitch to that specific research area. So depending on who you're talking to and kind of what the goal of this networking is, you want to tailor your elevator pitches to that specific person. So first, we're going to talk about how do you create a research-related elevator pitch. So this entire workshop series has been very focused on hopefully getting folks to pursue research at the undergraduate level, and hopefully, if you all stick with it, maybe pursue a PhD down the line. So a research elevator pitch is really important. In general, you want the time to be roughly 1 to 2 minutes. You want it to be short enough that you don't want to lose their interest or make them feel like you're kind of bombarding them, but you don't want it so long, so short that you don't really get your point across. Like it needs to have enough substance to be meaningful. So usually 1 to 2 minutes is kind of that sweet spot. So things you want to definitely make sure to include in your research elevator pitch. What is your name? What is your college and like what major are you in? When are you graduating? So like what year of your college degree are you in? What is your general research problem area? So either you're currently working in a lab or have worked in a lab. So what is the research area that you've been working on? Or maybe you're not currently doing research, but you're interested in research. So then what are the general research problems that you're interested in, whether it's machine learning or architecture, et cetera? Is there a specific research problem that you're working on? So if you're currently working in a lab, even if your lab spans some general research area, there's probably a specific research problem that different people in the lab, including yourself, are working on. So what are some of the details of the project? You don't want to get them bogged down in the nitty-gritty details, but just kind of a higher level idea of what is the problem, what is the input, what is the ultimate goal, how is it going to help the world, just what is the general kind of idea of what project you yourself are working on. Why is the problem important? And interestingly, what makes it non-trivial or challenging? If it's an easy problem, it's not necessarily that interesting. You probably wouldn't be working on it if it's an easy problem. So the fact that you're working on this research problem kind of implies that there's some interesting challenge or some interesting non-triviality to it. So what is that challenge? What is the thing that you're trying to solve that hasn't been solved before? And lastly, what is your proposed overall strategy? And intuitively, why is it a promising strategy? So there's this non-trivial problem that you're trying to tackle. So you came up with some idea. They're really going to be interested in hearing what was that approach and like why did you come up with this approach? Why is it meaningful? Um, so that's for research specific. But if we have a general elevator pitch, let's say that you're just networking people at your university. They might be from all sorts of different domains. So you might not necessarily have a specific shared interest already in mind that you have with them. So you're just kind of generally advertising who you are. The structure for a general elevator pitch is probably going to focus on, start with your name, start with your college program, your major, your year. And if you're talking to other computer scientists, or even if you're talking to people that aren't in the field of computer science, what CS or CS related topics do you personally find interesting? So, if they're in the CS world, they might not necessarily share those exact same topics with you, but they're at least aware of them and it'll be interesting for them to learn about what you're interested in. And if you're talking to someone that's not in the computing world, well, it's helpful for them to understand what are the general types of ideas that people tackle in CS and what are the specific things that you yourself are tackling. You want to get across what aspects of that topic area you personally find interesting and why do you find those interesting. So very rarely in life do we do things that we're not interested in. So if you're working on a research project, you probably had some reason for being interested in it. I mean, everyone that's on this call, something about this description of today's event got you interested in it. So whatever you're working on, why is it interesting to you? And lastly, what do you want to do next in your career? So you're currently an undergrad. Do you want to go to grad school? Why do you want to go to grad school? What types of grad programs do you want to pursue? Why do you want to pursue those types of grad programs? If you're going into industry right after college, what types of companies do you want to go to? What types of roles are you interested in? Why are you interested in those things? So kind of what are the future next steps that you're interested in? Awesome. So not directly related to elevator pitches, but it's going to be very relevant to the activity we're going to be doing a little bit later. We also wanted to talk about how do you give feedback. So later on in this session, we're going to do some role playing and we're going to have all of you give us some feedback. And in general, in your research projects, in the workforce, everywhere in life, you're going to be giving feedback to somebody in some way at some point. And giving feedback is a somewhat sensitive topic that you want to be able to do it in a way that the person feels empowered and kind of constructed. You want to kind of build them up for success rather than making them feel like you're just poking at their shortcomings. So how do you give feedback? It's helpful to have this warm point, cool point approach, where the warm point, you want to start by highlighting something that was really good in the elevator pitch or whatever it is you're giving feedback on. So, did they have a really interesting introduction? Was there delivery really excited or passionate? What was something that you enjoyed about the elevator pitch? And then you want to give a cool point. So the cool point is the thing that could be improved upon. So you want to talk about something in the elevator pitch that you think could have been strengthened, something that maybe was missing that should have been included, just some idea that could help them improve that elevator pitch in the future. Again, I want to emphasize the cool point. You don't want to make them feel like they're being attacked. You want to make it feel like you're on their team and you're just helping build them up so that they'll be even better in the future. So yeah, so the next section of this, and I think, is this where we stop the recording, or have we already stopped the recording? I know we're still going. I don't know if, Julia, is this where we're stopping the recording, or are we continuing with the role playing?
I think we'll do the role play and we'll stop the recording after that.
After the role playing, perfect. So this next section, what we're going to be doing is Christine and I are going to be role playing a bunch of different scenarios of potential networking situations that you all might face in the future or maybe have faced in the past. And we're going to give one initial approach at this, and then we want you all to give us some feedback about how our networking was. So in each of these scenarios that we're going to go over, we're going to describe the scenario, and we're going to describe from the student's perspective as the one who's trying to initiate the networking, how would that person do the networking? And we're going to do some role playing, and you'll give that student role some feedback about how they could improve, what they did well, and how they could improve in the future. So let's jump in.
All right, let's start. So, first scenario. You're attending one of your professor's office hours. So we're starting small familiar here. So you're attending office hours. You want to ask them about possible research projects in their lab. How would you network with that professor? And this is where we want to encourage you. Start thinking also about like, what would you do? How would you do this? And like Nima said, him and I we're gonna kind of like role play here. I'm the professor in this scenario, and Nima's the student. So let's get started.
Yeah, perfect.
And that's
So I'm
and
going to
I'm
go
sorry,
in.
Nima. Do you mind? I feel like what should we? I feel like we should stop sharing the screen so that our pictures would be. If people are okay with that, and then we can come back. Are you
Yeah,
okay with
that
that?
sounds good. And maybe I'll
Okay,
make us the spotlight for everybody. So there's
just to kind of.
you, and there is me. There we go.
All right.
Perfect. So in this first role, I'm going to be the student and Christine is the professor. So entering the seat. What's up? Where's your lab?
Oh,
I heard your classes were pretty cool. Like how do I get involved with your research? It sounded pretty dope. Like, you know,
uh,
what do you work on? How do I get involved?
well, hi. Well, what's your name?
My name's Nima.
Oh,
But
well,
how do I get involved with the research?
have you, what courses do you take? You know, what's your major?
Well, my
Tell me
major,
more about yourself?
I'm a computer science major. I've taken the intro classes, but I really want to do machine learning research. And I'm just reaching out to all the professors to see, what machine learning projects do they have for me to work on. So what you got for me?
What I got for you is I would say maybe take a look at our department website, see who's doing what, and then maybe that would be, you know, a good place to start.
But what about your lab? I want to do machine learning research in your lab.
Okay. Well, what do you know about my lab? What makes you interested?
Um, you're in my department, and I heard a lot of people like taking your class, so I figured you'd probably be a good person to work with.
Have you ever taken any of my classes?
No,
Oh, okay. So you have friends who are in my lab?
no, they took your intro CS class, and they said you were really cool. So I was like, oh, if
Oh, I
you're
see.
cool, I should probably work with you.
I see. Well, that's an interesting strategy. Well, let's delve into that and see.
So we want to hear from everyone
So
in the audience.
what
What?
do we think? I love this culture. Ambition and enthusiasm plus 5,000. Agreed.
So what were some good things? So I see Cole in the chat said ambition and enthusiasm was good.
Yes. Agreed. Agreed. Which is why the professor did not like shut it down right away. Like tried to shut it down, but couldn't.
Didn't shut you down at sup.
But did you see the eyebrow raise? This is where I would challenge you. Okay.
So what do people think? So that was
What do
one
we
of the warm
think?
things. What were some things that I could have maybe improved upon if I was a student? What were some things that you noticed from our tips that maybe my student role didn't hit? Any thoughts? Bit of research beforehand. Yeah, I just kind of
Yep.
jumped to this random professor and said, "Hey, I want to do machine learning research in your lab," without knowing what classes this person teaches, What research area is this person's lab in? So like this happens to me a lot. I do a lot of bioinformatics research, and I get so many emails from students saying, "Hey, I want to do machine learning research in your lab." It's like, well, I don't do machine learning research. Sorry.
Yep.
Little too
Yep. I love this.
casual of tone, absolutely. So I didn't really give as much respect to a professor as I probably should have. You know, this is someone that's in a position of authority and like they've worked hard for their career. They have a PhD. You know, in general, even with strangers, you should just always be respectful. So I kind of went into it a little bit too casually. Didn't introduce myself. Yeah, I just jumped
Yep.
right into what I wanted. I didn't say, this is my name, this is my major, these are my interests. I just said, hey, what you got for me? Give more context about myself. Absolutely. They've never met me and they have no idea who I am. I mean, Christine probably gets hundreds of students in her classes over time. So like, who is this random person that's never even taken her class? Start with self-introduction. Absolutely. Find a research goal or interest which is more precise. Exactly. So even if I'm interested in machine learning,
Yep.
machine learning is this massive field. Am I interested in the machine learning applications of like cancer research? Am I interested in machine learning applied to gaming? Like, what am I interested in using machine learning for? How can I contribute to that research? And yeah, why that professor more specifically? Make the professor sound uniquely important to me? Absolutely. And that's one good goal of networking is like this person is the person I'm talking to. I want to make them feel important and relevant to what I'm asking them about.
Exactly. And that's when we remember that it's okay to target someone to network with. Like it is okay. It's the person you want to meet. It's not a
Absolutely.
bad thing.
Awesome.
All
So
right.
maybe I
Okay.
think that was
Move
excellent.
on
So
to the,
let's go
yeah.
ahead and move to the next
Let's move to
role
the
play.
next one. So, I mean, shall we describe? Let's describe the scenario. This one, you're a senior applying for PhD programs, and I can quickly share the screen if you want me to just like go through the.
I think we might be on the previous
Sorry. There we go.
one. I
Share.
think we're on the one right before that.
Are we on this one? You're on the one before that.
There we go.
Oh, the career fair. You're attending a campus-wide career fair after waiting in line to speak to a recruiter at the dream company, at your dream company. You finally make it to the front and you want to ask them about potential internships. How would you network with that recruiter?
So this time I'll play the role of the recruiter, and this time Christine can be the one that's a
And
student trying
this
to
is,
network with me.
yep. Yep. So, hey, my name is Christine, and I'm very interested in working in your company. It's very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Christina. What's your last name? Like, I met a few Christines. I want to make sure I don't forget who you are.
Oh, I'm sorry, but yeah, Christine Bassam. Yeah.
Oh, nice to meet you as well. Nice to meet you. What brings you to our booth? What are you interested in?
Well, I do CS, and your company is very, it's like it's amazing. It's like it's such a great place to work in. And I just, I saw you at the fair, and I thought, hey, I gotta come, just see what you guys are doing. Are you hiring?
Oh, yeah, we're always considering great applicants here at NEMA Corp. We're always trying to hire. But let's get into some of the nitty-gritty details. What can you bring to the table? So we have roles all sides of the stack. So maybe we have like front-end developers, we have back-end developers, we have machine learning data scientists. What's your background? What are you
Well,
interested in working on?
Well, I could do it all. I mean, like really, I've taken a good number of intro courses, and really I can do anything. I've done so many projects on my own independently, and I think, whatever role is available, I got this. Like I could do it. I'm very, very interested, very excited to be part of this company.
I love the confidence. I love the confidence. Tell me more about those projects. So I guess what domain were the projects and what were you working on?
Well, there were small things, here and there, things that worked out, just things that might not, just with my friends, and like I just built an app with a friend of mine. We
Oh
played
yeah,
with, we
what
played a
framework did
little
you
bit to
use?
try and build an app.
Yeah. What framework did you use for the app? I've been using Node.js for my apps. What are you using?
Well, it's that thing that's called what's it called? What's it called? It's the it's like it has an R in it. Like what is it called? Like I remember. I think it's Node.js. Yeah. We've done something with Node.js.
Perfect. So unfortunately, I got to run to the other students. We got a big line catching up, but I would love to talk to you more, Christine. Do you have your resume? I'd love to
Uh,
show it to our recruiters.
Oh man, I didn't know that I was supposed to do that. No, I don't have anything. But you know what? Can I email you? Yeah, I'll do that.
Oh, interesting. You didn't bring your resume to a recruitment fair. Sure. We have a public email address. Feel free to shoot us an email and hopefully we'll get in touch in the future.
Sounds good. Really excited.
Great meeting you, Christine. And see.
I'm loving those more than I should. It's
Yeah, this
like,
is fun.
okay,
We're
what do
getting
we
our
think about
artistic.
this one? So what do we think? So
Christine can do it
nothing is
all.
wrong. Christine can
Absolutely.
do it all. See, I love it. Yes, right. Look, the confidence, guys. You gotta like do it all. I agree. Yeah, see, perfect. All right. So what else? What do we think about this? So what were the strengths? What could have gone better?
Warm and
Do you think
cool,
it
yeah.
went well? Did we even think it went well? What do we think?
Did it go like okay, decently?
Oh, we have a bunch coming in. He should have brought his resume. Yes, it seems unprofessional, right? Like career fair, you think the student would come in with a resume, exactly. Like, or at least like some card with a QR code, even now that we're in this tech world. Like it doesn't have to be the resume, but the QR code where the resume is, like where the resume lives, something like that. Um, Always take the resume. Okay, I feel like people, yep. She should have been more detailed. Yes, with the technical stuff. Like the recruiter gave me the chance. Nima gave me the chance to kind of say something about what I did because I said I did a bunch of things, and I ended up not really saying anything. I just repeated what he said. Um, what else? Yeah, better intro about you, year, major interests. Excellent. At like a good start of a networking thing, any networking is just to be like, hello, my name is, and this is who I am.
And I think
Yes,
real quick, like one concrete reason why you really want to make sure you give your year is like if it's a recruiter and you're a freshman, they might not be accepting people that are going to be graduating like 4 years from now versus like
exactly.
you're a senior and you're on the job market soon. That might be really enticing to them. So like there are reasons for why you should be extra specific about those details. Absolutely.
Exactly. And then I like what Kai said, doesn't inspire confidence with struggling to answer general questions. Yes, like the questions were really like they were kind of laid out because, and note something, it's set up so that I, the student, I said, hey, I've done so many things, I can do it all. And then when I was given the first question, like, well, tell me one thing, I couldn't. Like, it's like, yeah, I struggled with it. And notice how right away, like the recruiter was like, okay, I need to go talk to other people. I'm seeing how important being adaptable and a bit informal can help show you can be friendly, easy to work with, and seems always ready, could be better. I like that. So you're looking at the positive here, David. Am I understanding this right? That's like, kind of being like friendly and informal, a little bit informal with the recruiter, but up to some extent to show that I'm a friendly person to work with and I could do more. We have a question here. It says, finding the first ever internship as a non-CS major but minor in the field who has only taken several intro classes and zero projects so far. How can I get more outstanding? That's a great question. And this is where we say really, so go to those recruiting events and practice your like pitch. What is it that you would say? What is it that you know? What skills do you have? And there's more that we can talk about as well. Yes. Definitely, yeah, play to your strength. Exactly. What is it that's unique about you? Is it that your communication skills, your networking skills, your writing skills? Just focus on things that you know you're so strong at. Phil says, while it's great to be good at everything, in my opinion, it's a better idea to focus on one specific interest to talk about wanting to explore. It makes you stand out. Exactly. So when you're at those, especially with those like quick, fast recruiting events, imagine the situation here. It's like you're in a line where like there's so many people behind you and that recruiter is talking to at least 200 people per minute, so not per hour, and really there's a lot for that person to information to absorb, so you really need to impress that person in like few seconds. So be um focus on what you want to say, and make it fit also the company that you're talking to. So this is where you might have multiple pitches, one for each company, and it's okay to do that. Well, it's great to be, yep, we already did this. If you already know the technology the recruiter mentioned, like Node.js, then you should go deeper. Exactly. Go deeper. Once the recruiter gives you a bone, like, or in general, when you're networking with someone and and who the other side mentions something specific, if you're familiar with it, keep going with it. Just keep following that conversation. You're like, okay, that's something that person is interested in. That's something they're looking for. Like maybe they're looking for people who know Node.js. That's who they would hire. And especially that was linked to something that the company does. Yes, expand on it and talk about it. Perfect. Love that. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you. That was awesome. All right. So now we're gonna go to the next scenario, and again, sharing the screen real quick so that we can see the next scenario.
And I think probably for the sake of time, we might want to just jump to the last one, just to make sure we have time for general networking as well.
I had a
Because I see
really
that we're
good.
like 30 minutes to the hour.
Sounds good, but I had a really good setup for this. But
Oh,
that's
okay,
okay.
yeah,
All
let's
right,
do
no,
it.
that's
Yeah,
fine. That's fine. No, it's like I was really gonna role play this one, but it's okay. No, let's move on. No, it's okay. First day of
no,
class.
this was a good one. No, let's do it. I know what your role
That
play
was
is.
the one. That was the Zoom one. Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, so we'll do this one
Okay.
quickly, and then we'll jump ahead.
Okay.
So for this one, yeah, so you're a senior applying for PhD programs, and you've reached out to a well-known professor to discuss potentially joining their lab as a PhD student. You're about to enter a Zoom meeting with this potential advisor. How would you network with this professor? And in this role, I'm going to be the professor, and Christine is going to play the student. And we'll do this one fairly quickly.
Yep, we'll do it very quickly. Promise, very quickly. All right. So let's start this real quick. You're like, oh, hey, sorry, like I'm a little bit late. Sorry about that. Hey, how are you?
Oh, hi there. Welcome. Yeah, you're 5 minutes late. I've been waiting in the Zoom call. Is
Oh,
everything okay?
oh no, that's the things are fine. I just like yeah, kind of lost track of time and just realized, oh, whoa, this is meeting time. So yeah, it's very nice to meet you.
Oh, yeah, nice to meet you as well. Would you mind turning your camera on? If we're talking about PhD programs, I like usually kind of seeing the students that I might work with. So
Oh,
if you don't mind.
yeah, sure. Yeah, just give me a second. Yeah, like need to figure out like where is this? Yep. Here we go. Yep.
Oh,
Hey. Yeah, that's
hello.
just like sorry. Yeah, I'm in my room right now in my like yeah, like chatting from my room.
I see. Nice room.
Oh yeah, thank you. I mean, it's just what they give us, so what can we do?
Well, tell me about yourself. So you're interested in PhD programs?
So yeah, I'm like I've been doing research for a while, and yeah, I'm like really interested. We just working on a paper with my professor right now, and yeah, and I thought it's time to think about grad school.
It's great that you're thinking about that. What are you interested in? What are you trying to pursue for your PhD research?
So machine learning. Yeah, I mean, like it's the future. What else?
It's true. It is a very promising field. What types of problems in machine learning are you interested in?
I mean, I've done really, I haven't done any machine learning, to be honest with you, but it's what I want to do.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Well, I guess I would recommend probably do a little bit of research in what types of problems you would want to tackle in machine learning, and
Yep.
that might help kind of narrow down
But
your
but
PhD.
no, I would do whatever you're doing. Like what is it that you do?
Well, I do bioinformatics, so not really directly tied
Uh,
to machine learning, but machine
uh-huh.
learning also has great applications in my field. So if you ever find any
Mm,
good ways that it intersects, yeah, absolutely, we should talk.
mm, I see. All right.
Okay,
Okay. And
let's
then we can cut it. Sorry. Yep, there we go.
see.
Now we're back to
So how did it go?
what do we think? Let's go back to my non-messy. I actually like the messy part. Nice setup. Professor's doing every possible thing to recruit you. Yep. And I think yep. And the student did every possible thing to not be recruitable.
Uh, So yeah, so it is funny that Christine had the virtual background, but you do want to make sure that like when you're on a Zoom meeting and you're meeting
Yep.
in person, you want to make sure that things are presentable. You want to make
Yep.
sure that your room looks clean. If you want, I mean, I always use a virtual background when I'm doing it. I don't need it. My office, I think, is clean. Let me double check. But if you're nervous that you have stuff in the background or like your roommates are there, feel free to use a virtual background to make it feel a little bit more private. But
Yep. And notice also like the way that I was kind of like crunched and like just showing just parts of my face again, like, just the way you're presenting yourself, even in a Zoom meeting, your posture, your body language, even in a Zoom meeting matters.
So for the sake of time, we should probably
Yep.
jump to that last one. But
Let's
yeah,
go to
just
the
kind of
last one.
extending on, professionalism is important in these networking events.
Yep. All right. So last one. First day of classes. You find a seat in the lecture hall of one of your courses. You don't know anybody in class, but you want to make some friends and ideally form a study group. How would you network with this class?
So in this role, Christine is going to be my classmate, and I'm going to be the student that's trying to network to form this study group. So C. Hey, how you doing? My name's Nima. I noticed that you've been sitting in the front row. I've noticed you've always been engaged with the professor. It's great to meet you.
Oh, hi, Nima. Nice, great to meet you too. My name is Christine. Well, thank you for noticing that. I really like this course.
Yeah, me too. I've been loving it. The professor's just always going on these crazy cool explorations, but the subject matter has been like so hard for me to understand. I don't understand integration by parts. I understood regular integration, but just this next level of calculus is really messing with me. I don't know how have you
Oh,
been feeling with this most recent
oh,
stuff?
really? No, I mean, I've kind of been, I struggled with it a little bit, and then I sat with a tutor and they really helped me out. So like, wait, I can tell you more about this if you want. I can kind of like link you to the different resources we have. I don't know if you know about this. The course has some really amazing tutors and TAs, and they're so cool. They can help.
Oh, that is
If not,
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah,
we can also.
I would love to. And I was curious to see. So last time, me and a few other people that are sitting next to me, we formed a study group. And after class every day, we've been just kind of going over our notes and making sure that everything makes sense, working on practice problems. I just wanted to see, like, would you be interested in joining us in our study group? There's no pressure, but usually we meet right after lecture over in the library. We would love to have you join us.
Oh, I would love that. Well, thank you for offering. Oh, that's so nice of you. Thank you. I mean, I've been looking for someone to study with. I having a study partner. I usually just go to a TA, but I think it would be really great to to chat with others and connect with my classmates. Thanks for offering. And see. Oh, I like this. This is really like I rolled like my classmates when I said I can't understand things. Got me so depressed. Oh, that's so unfortunate of me.
That's unfortunate, and I think
Yeah.
this is kind of like with networking. Definitely, we want to try to get you comfortable, like just shooting your shot. You know, sometimes people aren't as receptive to when you introduce yourself, and that's totally okay. You just gotta kind of pick yourself back up and try it again.
Mhm.
And I think that's kind of the goal of this workshop is hopefully we'll teach you some tips that like, it's not always going to work out every single time, even if you did everything completely perfectly. But yeah, just keep
Yeah.
going. And in this case, this was a successful one.
Yep. Perfect.
So we're running out of time, so we're gonna jump over to the networking session. Uh,
Yes.
Thank you so much, folks. We hope you enjoyed all those scenarios. Uh,
Heard the wrong thing. Sorry. So yeah, so now really what we've shared with you the scenarios. Now it's really time to apologies for this. I don't know why my Zoom is acting up. This is what I wanted to share. There are more scenarios here if you want to pause and look at them. And now it's time to practice networking. As we promised, let's split into, you know,
Yes,
um,
actually, before we do that, just so that we can stop the recording, I just want to share a couple of items. We will be sticking around for the next 15 minutes if folks have the time. Um, but after this session, or once you close out the Zoom, you should receive a survey popping up in your browser. We would appreciate any and all feedback. Christine, do you mind going to the next slide? Any and all feedback would be helpful. We want to make sure that our programming is meeting your needs and that we are providing workshops that make sense for you and your position that you're in. Next slide, please. Tell us what you want to see. So we'll be running again this session in the spring. Do you want to see more sessions that are hands-on? Would you like to see something more informative? Would you like more social or informal events? We'd love to know. So any feedback that you provide would be helpful. Next slide. And then in addition to these workshops, if you missed any of them, next slide, Christy. If you missed any of them or would like to review them, you can always find the recordings on YouTube as well as the UART PhD website. And if you're thinking about graduate school, next slide. We also have a couple of workshops remaining left in that series. So we'll be doing a peer review on Wednesday if you want to bring your resume and or if you want to bring a personal statement or a statement of purpose, that might be a great opportunity for you to engage in that workshop. Beyond these two opportunities, we will also be reoffering our undergraduate research methods course. So if you're interested in some specific research training, this will be a great opportunity to explore. All right. Thank you all for coming. We'll stick around for folks to actually network, but we'll stop the recording here.